Just in time for the heavy hitters. It has started raining here. We were hoping to sneak it in, but we're not going to. But we can play through, gentlemen. I don't think that
right on cue.
Heavy stuff's going to come down for a while. Cosmo Macero of O'Neill Associates, a man whose youngest son has his first day of preschool today.
Absolutely, August 28th.
Peter KADZIS of the Boston Phoenix, a man whose oldest son will be driven away to college on Thursday.
Yep.
An emotional time.
Yeah, I'm sad. Mixed emotions.
I bet
Mixed
indeed.
emotions.
Especially when he writes those checks, Cosmo. You'll be finding out about those soon.
You'll be crying then.
Let's start with this, gentlemen. Politics, of course, is the story of the day, but the Elizabeth Warren video. Little fundraiser on Sunday on the Vineyard. She goes to get into a cab. Either a staffer or a cab driver, depending on who you believe, decides to shove the Republican tracker that's following him, and hilarity ensues. Cosmo, is this a big deal or not?
Cab driver or staffer, just another jerk from the Vineyard is what that kid is.
Wow.
What a punk. Well, maybe not another, but yeah, anyway. It's like Spygate, right? It's like Spygate. $1 million fine, no draft picks, no franking privilege for 2 years.
But who are you finding? He doesn't work for the campaign, she claims.
Yeah. I question whether she actually didn't see it or hear it. How could she not see or hear it? Hey, this is standard practice on campaigns. Get used to it. The opposition sends out a tracker to follow your every movement. Just consider them a part of the media or the public eye and get used to it and get over it. So
Trackers are sleaze. Enter at your own risk when you're a tracker. Whatever happens to you, within certain limits.
I guess it's a sleazy assignment on a campaign, but it's standard practice. People ought to get used to it.
It's much ado about nothing. It's an ill-mannered practice.
It is.
It's bad manners. And listen, everyone has a right to take films of a candidate, including the opposition. It's very unclear that this guy has any connection with the campaign. I take the campaign at their word that he was a cab driver, mainly because he was so authentic, and he had obviously was sick and tired of this guy being in his face.
Does a cabbie say you don't know who you're messing with when it's a cabbie? Or when you're with somebody who is of some import?
I take their word for it too that he was simply the cab driver. But you know what? Shouldn't she get out of the van and say, "Hey, knock that off. Leave the guy alone."
I don't know. I think I'd have told her, "You stay inside and let the men work this out." Because what good comes from it if she gets in the shot?
Listen, the Warren campaign released their own video from back in October, I think it was. March, sorry. You know, where one of their trackers was dealt with less than politely. They're a plague on the trackers are a plague on the political culture.
Good point about not getting in the shot. She didn't. Coakley got in the frame that time in D.C. You're all done. She's in the frame while someone's being assaulted.
Well, that leads me to Scott Brown now, and he originally told us he was definitely going to the Republican convention. Hey, I'm a Republican. I'm going down. Now, I got that National Guard training I got to get done, and also I'm looking at the weather maps and the weather charts, and I'm gonna study this. Suddenly, he's a meteorologist, Cosmo. If you're his sensei, are you advising him to go or not?
I think he could probably make a safe appearance in some way in a limited fashion on Thursday. I don't know that he has a responsibility to be there. Certainly doesn't do him a lot of good. It's not part of what he needs to do to get reelected, to play a big role or much of a role at all in the convention. So why do it? There's a lot of downside. There's a lot of visuals that he could get stuck in that aren't going to be good for him. So, you know.
He'll fly in, he'll fly out. There's more downside than upside. It's a tight race. The issues that the press are going to be really focusing on, like abortion and all, aren't going to do him any good at home.
Yeah, I don't know if he can go in quietly, and then you have the Baghdad Bob split screen while he's over here, while the action's going on over here, Cosmo. If he's in, he's in.
It's tough. And any crackpot thing that may happen out of nowhere, all of a sudden he's there, boom, there's a Elizabeth Warren TV ad.
So let me ask you this, on a scale of 1 to 10, now that it is finally here, how interested in the Republican convention are you?
I'm pretty interested. I'm above a 5, and here's why. I'm interested in the whole dynamic with Chris Christie. I know he gives a speech tonight. Early on, when Romney chose Ryan as his vice presidential pick, the Romney campaign said, you know, Chris Christie just wasn't ready. Looks like the reality is Chris Christie wasn't ready because he was concerned about Romney being a losing ticket, at least according to the New York Post. So I think there's an interesting dynamic there. I do think he'll deliver.
That's a big if, and I mean that with Chris Christie. That is a big if.
he'll deliver. He'll deliver a standard, or more than standard, a very strong Chris
Yeah,
Christie
isn't his
type
job
speech.
to get us interested in this? Isn't that what he's got to do?
Oh, Governor Snooki, I can't wait to see him. I mean, listen, he has a very simple job. His job there is to appeal to white voters. For Romney to win, Romney is so alienated non-white voters that Mitt Romney needs to gather the highest percentage of white voters if he, in recent memory, if he's to be elected. You know, following Chris Christie will be Romney's wife. She's important because Romney's ratings with women are not strong, and her job, I imagine, is to humanize them. So I'm interested in seeing just how those two people go.
Peter, you got to go pack some boxes. Your son's off.
All
to
packed.
Ukraine. Cosmo, good luck picking up Deacon at the bus stop a little bit later today. They're the heavy hitters in the